Hello everyone, Steve Furrow here with the Kingery team at Mountain to Lake Realty. And we're bringing you another adventure in real estate, and I'm pretty excited about this adventure because we're going to talk a little bit about some surveys and some particulars with that. But before we get into that, well, I should say not before, but here as we move into that, we've got Eric Ferguson with Rhodes, Ferguson and Attorneys in Rocky Mount. Thank you for joining us, Eric.
Thank you, Steve, for having me.
And so I am pretty excited, Eric. This survey thing, I deal with it, it seems like all the time. I'm going to the courthouse records, trying to find some information, and what information I find, then I share that with the potential buyer or the seller. We talk about those things, and so I'm going to ask you some of the questions that I have all the time. And so setting that up, I'll just say to you, when we talk about surveys, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Surveys are a paper description of your property.
Okay.
And it's the best indicator for you to find out where your property corners are. It's the best place for you to find where the property lines are. If you're buying property that has a house on it, you can find the corners of the house. You'll know whether or not you're in violation of zoning ordinances or setback violations. A survey provides you so much information that is helpful to you as a property owner. So,
that being said, if I was buying or selling property, why would a survey be in? You talked about what it is, but why is that having a good survey? Why is that truly important?
It's very important because having a good survey can eliminate any fears that you might have about property encroachments that you have, like from your neighbor. And when encroachments, I mean if somebody's driveway is partially on your property, or if their outbuilding is sitting across your boundary line. If you've got a fence that separates you from the dairy farm behind you and it's over on you a little bit. A survey provides you with so much information that will help you better utilize your property, because you'll know where creeks are, you'll know where fences are, you'll know where trees are. Right. And even if you get up close to the road, then you know where culverts are. It really helps.
Okay. And so, let's say that I am the seller of a property. My property, I've got 10 acres, and it was, I inherited it from my grandfather, okay? Just make this up, but I inherited it. It was surveyed last in 1945. All right, so we're 80 couple years, something like that, from that date. Do I need to get a new survey? Should I be concerned about the age of that survey?
You should be. A lot of things could happen in 80 years. The differences in the ways that they surveyed in 80 years are dramatic. As you and I were talking earlier, and a lot of times when people will see deeds, especially if it's property that they inherited from a grandparent, like your example is, it may refer to a pile of rocks in the northeast corner. It might refer to an elm tree at the corner of the fence in the back or on the creek bank. I can remember one in Botetourt County that I looked at one time that said, beginning at the elm tree at the foot of the falls. Well, we didn't know where that was, but the amazing thing about it, if you get the survey done recently, then you know where any changes in the property are. And over an 80-year period of time, that's really what you want to know is, how close is the fence that's been built? Where's the house that's been built? If the road has been widened, right. Or just any number of things can affect your property over that period of time.
Sure. Well, and so if you're buying a piece of property, purchasing something that has a good, valid survey is, it's, to me, I think about it being, that's important from the standpoint of, it does tell you what you're purchasing, if you will, but then you're able to kind of go out there and physically see it. And if you don't have if you're looking at buying a piece of property and there's not a good survey there, it's probably a good idea to have it. I would encourage folks to try to get that done. Whether you can negotiate that as a part of the purchase is sometimes an option. Sometimes it's not. But even if it's not, I think going in and going through that expense up front, I think certainly could save you some headaches down the road.
It will, and I know we always have this discussion in our office about whether or not somebody needs a survey. You know, when you don't have a description that is definite, when it has a meets and bounds like the footages and the angles and all of that, it's hard to tell where your property might be. You could have the next door neighbor could be taking 2 or 3 acres of yours simply because of a poor survey.
Sure.
And the nice thing about getting a survey now is when you're buying property is that most banks or most lenders are going to require that you have title insurance. And if you get title insurance will require that you have a good description of your property. And if you don't have a recent survey, they're going to accept to matters of survey, which is what we know as they're not going to cover anything that would have been revealed by a recent survey. And so I will tell you now that no lender is going to loan you money to buy property if that exception's in the title insurance. So a recent survey will eliminate all of those problems.
You bet. You bet. No, it's great. And we haven't talked about this, but the other thing that a nice survey will show you is when you talk about right-of-ways and easements, things that might be a part of that property that maybe aren't necessarily yours, if you will. Those are always can be eye-opening at times.
They can be, and the survey will show you if the right-of-way belongs to the property behind you and it comes across the corner of your property, an accurate survey will show that. If you share a well with someone, or if there's a septic drain field on your property for the guy next door, a survey will show that.
Yeah. And all those things it's really good to know those things ahead of the purchase.
Oh yeah, because a lot of times people don't like it when they find out about it later.
Oh man, no, it's not a good deal. Certainly not a good deal. Well, Eric, that's some good stuff, and we could probably just continue to go on and on about instances and things that we're dealing with, potentially dealing with when you talk about land surveying, if you will. But I think unless you've got something else you want to share specific to survey, I think we'll just kind of wrap things up.
Nope. I just encourage people, if you want to know before you buy it, is the best time to do it.
You bet. You bet. Good advice. Good advice. Well, with that, Eric, thank you for joining us. Always
Thank you for having me, Steve.
And guys, we appreciate you joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on another adventure in real estate. Until then, take care.